Welcome to the Inner Self-Confidence Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Delamont. Real talk for women who are done overthinking, freezing, or abandoning themselves. If you are ready to feel calm in your body, trust yourself, and speak up without forcing it, you're in the right place. Because confidence isn't something you perform, it's something you build from the inside out. Let's go. Welcome to the Inner Self-Confidence Podcast, episode 41. 10 days of silence changed nothing and everything. Okay, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about something that I've always wanted to talk about, and I talk about it in my book, Trust the Flames, my 10-day silent meditation retreat experiences. Because I just got back from my 7th Vipassana meditation retreat, and I'll make sure that you know what that means by the end of this podcast. But it's basically 10 days of no phone, no talking, no eye contact, no reading, no writing, no music, no social media, obviously, no distraction of any kind, and 10 to 12 hours of sitting on the floor meditating. Just you, your breath, your body, and your mind. And I want to tell you everything because a lot of people kind of look at me like I'm crazy when I talk about this, but then there's a lot of people who are very curious. So here I go. I want to tell you exactly what it's like from my own opinion and my own experience, what happens in my own body, what happens in my own mind, and really in general, what's happening to all of us, and why I personally keep going back, and why after 7 of these, this one might have been my most profound yet. I mean, my first one was probably the most profound because it really did change the trajectory of my life. And I talk about that in my book, Trust the Flames. I dedicate a few chapters to it. So whether you've heard of Vipassana, whether you are curious, whether you think I'm completely insane, stay with me because I promise by the end of this episode, you're going to understand why I believe every single person on this planet should do at least one of these in their lifetime. So let's go. All right. So what is Vipassana? First, Vipassana means insight meditation. It's the exact type of meditation that the Buddha or Siddhartha Gautama himself practiced under the Bodhi tree 2,500 years ago. Now, Buddha just means the enlightened one, but I'm specifically talking about the one who we all refer to as the Buddha 2,500 years ago. This is the exact type of meditation that he himself did. And now, before you switch off, this has nothing to do with religion at all. This is not about being Buddhist or believing in anything. There is nothing you recite. There is nothing you believe in. There's nothing you chant. There's no crystals. There's no ideology. All you do is focus on your breath and the sensations in your body. That's it. It's simple and it's not simple at the same time. The technique works on one fundamental truth about human suffering, which is that we create our own misery through 2 things: craving the pleasant experiences and having an aversion to the unpleasant ones. So we're constantly in this wave of craving good and trying to avoid the bad, or quote unquote bad, whatever that is. Now, when something feels good, we cling to it. We want more of it, and we panic when it ends. When something feels uncomfortable, we resist it, we avoid it, we do anything to escape it. And Vipassana teaches you through direct experience, not just intellectually, to simply observe, to watch the sensations arise and pass away without reacting. It's not life-changing on an intellectual level. You absolutely have to experience it in your body, and that's what these 10 days do. Why do I do these retreats? Okay, so I did my first Vipassana retreat 12 years ago. This was my 7th one, and I hadn't done one in 6 years. My last one was Christmas and New Year's 2019 going into 2020. And this is why I keep going back, because I do get asked a lot. Number 1, I go back because it's fucking hard. Yeah, I can take 10 days off of my life and go somewhere beautiful and amazing and have an incredible time. Or I can take 10 days off and do something really hard, but really rewarding for my spiritual, mental, emotional, and even physical health, I believe. And it is genuinely uncomfortable and confronting and hard. It's not some even retreat. It's called a retreat, but and yes, you have people making your food for you. You have, a nice bed to sleep in most of the time. I mean, my first meditation retreat, I slept on a piece of plywood. I had a wooden pillow. Okay. So there are definitely types of retreats that are a bit more non-luxurious, and even the ones that are nice, like the ones that are here in Australia and in America, I wouldn't say they were luxurious. They're very simple. But the nervous system, this is the big thing about comfort. The nervous system doesn't grow through comfort. Yes, we want it to feel safe, but if we're constantly trying to just be comfortable and quote unquote only feel safe and comfort, that's not nervous system capacity. You will only grow your nervous system capacity through safely experiencing discomfort and realizing, I can handle this. Every time I sat there an hour of agonizing pain in my body without moving, without reacting, and without escaping, I was literally training my nervous system to handle discomfort. And that's capacity. It transfers into every single area of your life. Number two, I am forced to become my own best friend. When it's just you, there's no phone, there's no conversations, there's no content, there's no opinions. You are forced to sit with every part of yourself you normally distract from, minimize, suppress, numb, and avoid. And while we all think we love ourselves, try being silent for 10 days with just you and see how much you really do love yourself. Okay? That's where real, true compassion begins when it is only you and you are not distracting yourself with taking care of other people or feeling good about yourself because other people need you. There's nowhere to run and there's nowhere to hide. And this can be very terrifying for people. And personally, I have a personality, a soul, karmic energy where I actually feel really comfortable in more of the monk life. I actually have a harder time coming out of those 10 days than going into those 10 days. And I'll get into that as well. But another reason why I do it, number three, is because there is a massive reduction of stimulation. We know and we are overstimulated. There is so much noise, there's so many conversations, so much content, so much advertising, so many opinions, so much news, notifications, comparisons. Even if you can take 10 days removing all of that, your brain gets to breathe, genuinely breathe, in a way it cannot do in a normal life. Number four, you are training your brain. I am training my brain sitting there in meditation. Meditation supports not only emotional regulation, but one of the most important aspects of our development is what's called neuroplasticity. This is your brain's ability to rewire and strengthen the parts that can pause before reacting. Every second I spent observing a sensation without reacting to it is literally like doing a bicep curl for my brain. And I was doing 10 to 12 hours a day sitting in meditation. That's 36,000 seconds in one day of choosing to come back to myself 36,000 times every day instead of going into distraction, instead of going into avoiding, instead of going to into escaping. Confidence is built in those tiny moments. The way we respond to our impulses is the most important action we will ever take in our lives. Okay, Katie. Well, what's this schedule like? Like, what are you doing from 4 in the morning till 9 at night? Because that's what's going on. So let me walk you through what a day actually looks like. Okay, so they have this bell that they ding in the retreat center, and the first one goes off at 4 in the morning. And you can either meditate in the hall, which is this beautiful space where all the people come in. And most retreats, you have about 30 women and 30 males. Now, the male and females never interact. They're on two separate sides of the meditation retreat, but you do all come into the hall, but all the women sit on one side and all the men sit on another side, but you don't make any contact, obviously. So, and you all have your own room. Some people do end up sharing a room, but most people do have their own space. Now, I have been lucky enough to always have my own room because I remember the one time I was supposed to have a roommate, she actually never showed. So I've lucked out the whole time. I've always had my own room. But basically, from 4:30 to 6:30 in the morning, you can either meditate in the hall or you can meditate in your own room. And then from 6:30 to 7:30, we have breakfast. And then from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., we all have to go into the hall for a full hour and sit and meditate. And then from 9 to 11, you either sit in the hall or again, you can go to your room to meditate. Then from 11 to 1, we have lunch. Now, lunch is only served for those 45 minutes, and then you have like an hour and 15 to do your laundry, take a shower, whatever you want to do. And then from 1 to 2:30, you can again meditate in your room or in the hall. Then from 2:30 to 3:30, everybody has to be in the hall for that 1 hour sit. And then from 3:30 to 5, again, you can sit in the hall or meditate in your room. Then from 5 to 6, we all get a literally tea, like a cup of tea break. And if this was your first meditation retreat, you get a piece of fruit. If it is your second or more retreat, you don't get any other food. So the only food you get is at 6 in the morning and 11 in the morning. You don't get any more food. Now, everybody is always like, oh my God, I would get so hungry. You don't get hungry, okay? It just doesn't happen because, anyways, I'm not going to even go into that, but you only get those two meals at those times. Now, then from 6 to 7, you again meet in the hall and we all meditate for an hour together. Then from 7 to 8, we watch what's called a discourse, and it's an hour long video on, what the practice is about, the guy who continued the practice. And then from 8 to 9, we all do our last meditation together. That's 12 hours in total sitting on the floor meditating. And I'm not going to lie, previously, I would stay in my room to meditate instead of going into the hall a lot of the time. But this time I was really serious about my practice. And it wasn't from a pressure point. It was like I wanted to do more from a place of curiosity and a place of I really want to build my capacity because I know that it doesn't come through comfort. And now, back when I would stay in my room, most of the time I would just fall asleep. And I used to skip almost all those 4:30 a.m. sessions. I would just sleep until 6:30 and then go have breakfast. Now, obviously, they can't stop you from doing that. It's about that own self-control. Now, this was the first time that I actually sat pretty much 10 to 12 hours every single day in the hall instead of going to my room. So I was really dedicated this time. And I meditated more than I did in any other retreat. And something happened that I didn't actually expect. I went into this retreat honestly with uncertainty. I hadn't done a retreat in 6 years. I have so much more going on in my life. Like I have, my husband, I have a mortgage, I have a job, I have a business, I have a dog. Um, I've been going through a lot of other personal stuff. I have a car, I have, other things in my life. I've been doing social media more for the past like 2 years than I ever have in my life. I genuinely thought this was going to be really hard for me to focus because if I look at my life back 12 years ago when I did my first retreat, it I had nothing going on in my life compared to what I did now. I had no job. I had no job to go back to because I was in Southeast Asia. I had no job. I had no car. I had barely any money in my bank account. I had no loans. I had no boyfriend, no mortgage, no animals, nobody to, check in with. Like I had nothing. Yet I was still really unable to focus compared to what I was now. Mind you, I have had a daily meditation practice for the past 12 years, so that obviously helps. But the opposite, like I said, happened. This was the first retreat where I was able to focus the most. And I got into such deep, deep states of like pure, or it was like orgasmic at times. Like I was reaching crazy states of bliss, like I've never experienced in meditation. But then I was also sitting with the most agonizing physical pain I've ever experienced, like hours of pain in my knees, in my back, in my hips, in my feet, in my shoulders, in my neck, sitting cross-legged on the floor for hours at a time. And you know what I noticed? Something wildly extraordinary. The only times I would get up and feel really sore, like stiff and aching and struggling to walk, were the times that I had been moving around, fidgeting, losing focus, and resisting the discomfort. But the times that I stayed completely still, and I'm talking, they encourage you to stay still for at least 1 hour at a time. So you can sit for an hour and then maybe have a 5 minute break. But then there was also sits where you can sit for an hour and a half to 2 hours, or you can just meditate for the 3 hour block all the way through and not get up if you didn't want to, and then have a 5 minute break, sit down, and maybe do another 3 hours. Like the way it's set up is you can meditate, quite consistently without having to get up or anything. And there's certain times that we're meditating together where they really encourage you not to move, meaning wherever your hands are, they don't want you to move your hands. They don't want you to open your legs or open your eyes. And so think about the hours that you're awake. I still had my eyes closed almost 10 to 12 hours of being awake, which is a whole nother experience in itself. And when I stayed completely still, meaning I was present with my pain, I wasn't sitting in the pain, I was literally watching the sensations arise and pass away without clinging to the pleasant feelings and not having an aversion to the unpleasant ones. Does that mean that my body didn't feel pleasant and unpleasant? No, I was feeling pleasant and unpleasant feelings. I just wasn't being attached to them. I wasn't in the story of them. And my body would then relax. I would get up after meditating for 1, 2, 3 hours of a time, not moving, and get up and feel no soreness at all. I'm the oldest I've ever been at one of these retreats, and I thought I would be the most sore. I was the least sore I've ever been. The resistance to the pain creates more suffering than the pain itself. And what I realize is that, again, literally, everything is in the mind. The sensations that come up, the pain in our body is real. But if we just allow that sensation to come up and then go away, instead of attaching a story or a meaning of like, oh, that's my bad side of my back, or oh, and I'm so old, and oh, it's so cold outside, and oh, that's my scoliosis, and oh, the pain's never going to go away. Like, this is all the stories that you're telling yourself. When real, you're just experiencing a sensation, whether it's a good sensation or a bad sensation, it's just a sensation. We live way too much in the story instead of the awareness. Now, here's what Vipassana confirms for me every single time. Everything, and I mean everything, like I said, starts as a sensation in the body before it becomes an emotion, before it becomes a story, and before it becomes a belief about yourself or the world. It starts as a physical sensation, a tightness in the chest, a flutter in the stomach, a heaviness in the throat. And then your mind attaches meaning to it, an emotion to it, and a whole narrative to it. And it becomes our craving of pleasant and our aversion to the unpleasant that we create more misery. Instead of sitting with our pain, we sit in it and we amplify it. We build a whole identity around it. Vipassana shows you in real time in your body from an experiential level that every sensation, no matter how intense, will always pass away. Nothing is permanent, nothing is personal, and nothing is perfect. Not the bliss, not the agony, not the anxiety, not the grief. It all passes. And when you truly experience that, not just understand it intellectually, but you feel that in your body, something shifts permanently. Personally feel like I can handle way more now. I have so much more capacity. I have a technique that shows me how to come out of my own misery and see life for how it truly is. I sit in so much more gratitude and deep appreciation. I don't expect people to show up any differently than how they already do. I'm way more accepting. I'm way more present because it confirms everything is in our heads. Mind over matter is not a motivational poster, it's a lived embodied truth. Okay, is this for everyone? I personally think everyone should do one of these in their lifetime, but I also know it's not for everyone. It is genuinely one of the hardest things I've ever done, and I've done it 7 times. If you are someone who feels constantly overstimulated and overwhelmed, you struggle to be present, you find it hard to sit with discomfort, you want to build genuine nervous system capacity, and you're curious about your mind and its own capabilities, then yes, I totally think you should absolutely do it. It's not going to change your life in 10 days. Let me be very clear about that. Not one single thing. Stop looking for something to change your life. Not one thing will. But again, 36,000 seconds a day of choosing to come back to you instead of escaping, that's going to change you from the inside out. And that is the only kind of change that actually lasts. And here's what I want to leave you with. We live in a world that is designed to keep you distracted, to keep you stimulated, to keep you consuming, to keep you reacting. The most radical thing you can do, the most powerful act of self confidence is to sit with yourself quietly without running. Vipassana taught me that I'm not my thoughts. I'm not even my sensations. I'm not my emotion. I am the one who observes them. And from that place of observation, I can choose. I can respond instead of react. I can come back instead of escape. And that's what inner self confidence is, that self trust. It's not the absence of discomfort or this idea that you're going to be confident and you're never going to feel like life's hard. It's the capacity to sit with the pain and to come out the other side knowing that you are okay. And the hard parts are actually what grows you. And you start looking forward to the hard parts. Like that's where I'm at in life. I actually look forward to the challenging bits. And that's what I found during that retreat. I kept looking forward to feeling the pain because I was like, yes, this is where I learn. This is where I grow. This is helping me expand my capacity. And it might sound crazy. It's not like I want bad things to happen to me, but every single thing in my life that was painful or horrendous or horrible or gut wrenching or traumatic or dramatic has only ever brought me so much more love, so much more joy, so much more compassion, so much more capacity, so much more kindness, so much more patience. All of it has. I would change nothing and I welcome the challenges. That's what inner self confidence is. Inner self confidence is that self trust to be with yourself, regardless of something is really pleasant or really unpleasant. You know that you can still stay in your body and that you can handle it. You can show yourself that you got yourself, you can do anything, and we can do hard things, you know? That's essentially what this whole 10 days is all about, is showing yourself, experiencing the fact that you can handle anything. Now, most people are like, I can handle anything. I can handle anything. I got my back. I got my back. But then you ask them to sit with themselves for an hour without moving, and they can't. They don't have their back. They're not being compassionate to themselves. They're constantly moving and fidgeting and trying to feel more pleasant sensations and less unpleasant. That's the whole point, is being with all of the experiences without reacting. That doesn't mean you don't have emotions. That doesn't mean you don't have sensations. It just means it doesn't overpower you and you don't get stuck in the story and you live more in the awareness. Like, I can't tell you the feelings that I get coming out of these retreats. I was literally in tears driving home after the retreat because I was just so grateful that not only was I exposed to this method 12 years ago and it changed my life then, but I had now the opportunity to continue doing these 10-day retreats, that I have a beautiful life. I love, my husband, where I live. I love the work that I do. And even though it might not all be perfect, I'm so grateful for it. And I also know that I have a choice in my destiny and my future because I'm the author of my life. Nobody else is holding my pen. I don't feel like I'm helpless. I don't feel like I'm being controlled by the government or by the world's, circumstances. I get to control my reality. I get to control how I react and respond. And in essence, then that changes how I feel. But, anyways, I do want to just tell you a few stories that did happen in this experience because I also want to make it very human as well. So, um, like I said, I have a much easier time being in the monk lifestyle than I do coming out of it. So on day 10, it's designed to be set up as like what they call a shock absorber. So after breakfast, you're allowed to talk, or I think it's after 10 a.m., whatever it is, and you're allowed to talk. And I don't like it. It is too much for me. It's very overwhelming. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to stay in my own little bubble. I don't want to have conversations with anybody. So I actually avoid people. I try not to make any eye contact and I go to my room and I don't talk to people usually on day 10. Now, it was so funny this time around. I was literally on my way to my room because I'm like, great, I got away with not having to talk to anybody at least this morning. And then, after another sit of meditation, you go back for lunch and stuff. So, anyways, I'm going back to my room and this one girl catches eye contact with me. And I'm like, shit, damn it, I'm gonna have to talk now. And she goes, hi, what's your name? And I'm like, oh, here we go. And you haven't talked out loud in 10 days. So, like, and I actually had a bit of tonsillitis during this. I had a big boil on my right earlobe, and I had huge white, sore, dry patches all down the left side of my throat. And to me, I was taking that as a sign for me to listen more and to talk less. But, anyways, I was sore in the throat and I hadn't been talking. And so, and when you first talk, you feel like you're talking loud and you feel like you don't know how to formulate sentences yet. I still don't know if I'm fully expressing myself how I want to express myself because I'm still like coming out of it in a way. But anyways, she comes up to me and she's like, hi, what's your name? And I was like, oh, it's Katie. What's yours? And she's like, I'm Angel. And I was like, of course your name is Angel. Like the first person I talked to is named Angel. And it's like, okay, Angel, I'm happy to talk to an angel. Anyways, I thought that was pretty hilarious, but it was so funny because when I first started talking, I was so anxious. Like, I feel like I'm talking loud. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, it's taking me a while to like process what she's saying, process to what I want to say. And like, for me, it's really awkward and it's really uncomfortable. And I actually get anxiety about it. So, um, I also want you to know that, your experience is your experience when you do these things. It's not going to all look the same. And when you come out of it, you're going to be so happy and joyful that you get to talk again. Like, that's not the case for everybody. And another thing I wanted to share that happened to me during the retreat is like day about 4, 5, and 6, or like 5, 6, and 7, I started getting restless leg syndrome at night. So around 11:30 or 12, it would happen every night at the same time. And it's where like your leg jerks because like you're getting all these pins and needles around your knee and around your feet and ankles. So your leg is jerking. It was so bad one night where I was literally dreaming that my leg was writing. Like I was journaling with my leg. That's how much it was like going spastic. And so by the fourth or fifth night of this happening, because what happens is you're sleeping, so you're going deep into that subconscious level, but your body is still feeling the sensations and you're still reacting to it because your subconscious brain never turns off. It's always reacting to sensations. And so what happened by the fourth or fifth night of this happening, every single night like clockwork, I actually was like, right, Katie, this is how you do the work. So when I woke myself up, I said, okay, I'm going to sit with the sensations and I'm going to resist the urge to kick my leg. So I sat there at night, so tired, so exhausted, going in and out of consciousness because I was like, okay, sitting there waiting for a sensation to come up that was really uncomfortable so that I could sit with it and breathe with it and not kick my leg. So I would sit there and I would get like quite tired because I'm waiting for a sensation and then I would like start to doze off and then the sensation would come up and like, okay, okay, sit with it, Katie, sit with it, Katie. Don't react. It's not pleasant, it's not unpleasant. It's just another sensation. What kind of sensations are going on? Is it tingling? And just observing it. And I sat there and I did it for about 30 or 40 and I started counting how many rounds I was going through of like, oh, here it comes, here it comes, oh, here it comes, here it comes. About 30 or 40 times it happened. And I would sit with it and I would breathe with it, and my leg wouldn't move because I sat with it. And I'm literally changing and rewiring my subconscious mind that I don't have to react anytime I have a sensation, that I can control my reactions. I can stay with the uncomfortable. Like it was so uncomfortable to stay with that tingling sensation where you just want to kick your leg. Like it's around your knee, it's around your ankle, it's around your feet, and it's like somebody is almost like tickling you to death and you like almost can't breathe. It's so overwhelming, but you stay with it. You breathe with it. And I just thought that was such an interesting thing to happen. And again, it just shows you how much you're willing to do the work. Even when I wasn't in the hall meditating, I was still doing the work when I was sleeping. Like I love this. Like I just love the practice. I love everything about it. And there you go. It's another human experience. I also thought it was extremely interesting and super synchronistic. A few weeks before I went to the meditation retreat, I was at another retreat, a wellness retreat, and one of the women who was there, she was co-hosting. She was a hypnotherapist, and she put us in this amazing meditation. And I'm going to have her on the podcast because I emailed her and I was like, "Hey, I loved what you did. Like, I would love to have you on my podcast to talk about hypnosis." And then she's like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to a 10-day silent retreat, so let's do it after." And I'm like, "Girl, I know you're going to the same one because there's no other 10-day silent meditation retreats like in the world. Like these are usually the only ones." But anyways, we ended up being obviously in the same meditation retreat. And what is crazy is you have to apply for these retreats months in advance because they book out immediately. Not only that is I've never known anybody to go to one of these retreats, at least at the same time that I did, or know anybody when I was in the retreat. So it was interesting to have somebody I knew there this time. And I met her and I had a very brief chat with her, but I didn't get to know her. And I actually wanted to get to know her more. And so there were so many times where I would like actually pass her and be like, oh, I kind of just want to have a little conversation with her and like see how it's going. And you know, the craziest part? Not only did we get put in the same building, so they have like six or seven different little buildings, and you all have your own little cell in the building. We got put in the same building, and we also literally got put next to each other on the meditation in the meditation hall. We were next to each other. Now that's super random because they do it in random form. They don't do it in alphabetical order or anything like that. And so we were literally sitting next to each other the whole entire time, which was such an interesting experience as well. And I just love how the universe works. Like there's no coincidences. Like, of course we sat next to each other. Like, I love it. I love how it works. And um, I'm not going to also sugarcoat it. Like I had my ups, I had my downs. Like there were days where I'm like, "Oh my God, how is it only day 4? How am I going to get through another 6 days? Oh my God, it's only day 6, it's only day 7. Like how can I do this for another 12 hours a day?" I'm starting to count down, okay, how many sits, how many hours? Like and so many memories are coming up as well because you're trying to focus, but like these things are popping up. And so, there were also times where I was like almost literally laughing out loud because these funny memories would come up. I almost was like in little stints of like having a giggle fit. I didn't like giggle, but like I can imagine myself starting to think of something. And then if I let myself go, I probably could have. But, anyways, this is part of the human experience. And I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience. And if you want to know more about Vipassanas or, what they're about, how you can join one, they're all over the world. They are completely free. They're run on donation based. Every retreat worldwide. Everything is run with volunteers. And you can find your nearest Vipassana center at Dhamma, DHAMMA.org. And like I said, all the retreats that I've ever seen and been to, they book out months in advance. So there's always an application date on the website, and you literally have to apply that day at that time. Otherwise, you go on a wait list. But, anyways, if this episode resonated with you, share it. If you know somebody who wants to know more about retreats or is curious, send it to someone. And know that I love you. I believe in you. You can do anything you put your mind to. And I'll see you next week. If you want to read about my wild ride from mindlessness to mindfulness, check out my best-selling memoir, Trust the Flames. You can buy it on Amazon or anywhere they sell books. And if you're interested in joining my group, Inner Self-Confidence Program, send me a message. We can jump on a free strategy call. You can jump on my website, www.katiedelman.com. Lots more details on there. And you can also follow me on any social media. It's just my name, Katie Delamon, and I'll see you next time.